Ryan Poles is making his rounds across the various pro days. Today, I want to talk about where our team is visiting, what prospects to keep an eye on, and a Chicago Bears draft update. Let's go ahead and get right into it. With the pro days getting close to wrapping up, today we have three big ones across the nation: Ohio State, LSU, and Boise State. But yesterday, Ryan Poles and company were down in Texas visiting the Texas Longhorns Pro Day. He was seen with Eric Bieniemy in attendance, potentially even scouting Texas's running back Jaden Blue. But Texas has one of the more talented rosters in the nation and features a lot of pro prospects. So I want to take a quick look at the best draft eligible players that Ryan Poles could have been scouting yesterday. Kelvin Banks Jr., Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond, and Gunnar Helm are the top offensive prospects to keep an eye on. An interesting note here: Isaiah Bond recently confirmed as a top 30 visit for the Bears. That speedy wide receiver Isaiah Bond is the newest addition to our top 30 visit list. It'll be interesting to see if he can live up to his 4.2 speed today. On defense, Texas has a handful of prospects led by defensive back Jahdae Barron and stud defensive tackle Alfred Collins. Collins is a guy I haven't talked about a ton, but is definitely a day two option for the Bears. And then I want to talk about Kelvin Banks Jr. for a minute here. To me, he's just one of the hardest guys in the entire draft to place. Heading into this year, he was my top left tackle in the nation, but he didn't really live up to his expectations, and he had an up and down season, including struggling badly in both games versus Georgia. On top of that, most scouting reports had Banks projected to move inside to guard in the NFL. But then he showed up at the combine with longer arms and checked in at 6'5". So I went back to watch his 2024 tape, and it's hard to not come away slightly disappointed or feeling like something is missing. Initially, I had him projected to guard, but then once he measured in at the combine, suddenly he was an option at left tackle again for the Bears, so I was moving him up my draft board. But then after going back and watching more tape, now I'm moving him down my draft board. So I'm kind of struggling to find a spot for Banks here. I like him as a player, but something is missing on the tape. Currently, I have him projected to go mid to late first round, somewhere between picks 15 and 30. But he's an interesting player. A lot of people are still talking about him to the Bears at 10. Right now, I don't know how realistic that is at pick 10. But let's talk about the rest of the pro days. I expected Ryan Poles and company to be at Ohio State's pro day today, and Twitter has already confirmed that. Both Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles are attending Ohio State's pro day, even though LSU and Boise State both have pro days as well. Let's be clear here, though, guys. No school in the country this season has more draft eligible talent than Ohio State. I'm actually surprised that there are only 5 GMs in attendance. The Falcons, Packers, Steelers, Saints, and Bears are the only GMs there. And then there's only 6 coaches there as well, but there are 141 total NFL personnel attending this pro day today. Ohio State simply has the most talent in the country right now. On top of that, today is a huge day for left tackle Josh Simmons. He's supposed to work out and show NFL teams that he's recovered from the knee injury that ended his season. If Simmons can impress scouts today and show that he's healthy, he could be flying up draft boards and even end up being a top 10 pick. But the Buckeye Pro Day is filled with talent, and there's so many players who could be options for the Bears in round two. A lot of guys I have on my radar. Both running backs, Quinshawn Judkins and Travion Henderson. I'm a huge fan of both guard prospect Donovan Jackson and defensive tackle prospect Tyleek Williams, and then I like both edge rushers as well, although I prefer Jack Sawyer slightly over JT Tuimoloau. But there are so many players on this roster I like. Even late round guys, center prospect like Seth McLaughlin, Will Howard wouldn't be a bad QB3 prospect. I like Cody Simon at linebacker, Latham Ransom at safety, and Denzel Burke at corner. Honestly, I'd be pretty surprised if the Bears don't end up with at least one Ohio State player in next month's draft. We're simply in a good position to land one of these talented prospects. But beware of the people overreacting today as we see the Bears brass scattered throughout today's pro day schedule. There are already reports of Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson both being at Ohio State, but you might get reports of other guys going to attend the LSU and Boise State pro days as well. It definitely would not surprise me to see Eric Bieniemy down there at Boise State. But some fans are going to make a big deal out of it either way. But it's important to remember that Ohio State just has the most draft prospects. LSU does have a bunch as well. It's not just Will Campbell, but also fellow offensive linemen Miles Frazier and Emory Jones. They have tight end Mason Taylor, who could be a good fit for the Bears in round two. And then pass rushers like Braden Swinson and Savion Jones. LSU's another talented roster. When it comes to Boise State, though, they really only have two players on their entire roster that could end up getting drafted this season. Ashton Genty and pass rusher Ahmad Hassanine, who's a day three prospect. So I wouldn't really overreact about how many people the Bears sent to the Boise State or LSU Pro Day. Should be a lot of updates today with three big pro days and more NFL news. It would be nice to see Ashton Genty run his 40-yard dash. That's something else to keep an eye on. But another thing here, people are already talking about Will Campbell's arm length again. Apparently, he measured in with 33-inch arms today at his pro day. And I want to be clear here, guys, that simply does not matter. NFL teams and GMs only care about the official measurements that get taken at the NFL Combine. They don't really care what the LSU training staff measured his arms at. He had official measurements done at the Combine, and those are the ones that NFL teams rely on. Every year, guys measure in with different arm length at the Pro Day and at the Senior Bowl, but it's never taken seriously. Will Campbell's arm length is 32 and 5/8 inches. It's commonly known that the people at the NFL Combine are the ones that most consistently do these tests and do them correctly. So anyone making a big deal out of measurements at a pro day, just ignore that. But these are the things to watch today, guys. The biggest updates will be from Kelvin Banks, potentially Isaiah Bond's 40, Ashton Genty's 40, and everyone's going to be keeping an eye on Josh Simmons, seeing if he looks healthy after last year's knee injury. Last second update here, Josh Simmons is working out at his pro day today. He already did 33 reps on the bench. We're hoping that he does position drills as well today. And there was also an update on Braxton Jones that came live on social media. He posted an Instagram video of him walking without a boot. He is on track to be healthy by training camp. So that's Braxton Jones with a positive update on his offseason ankle surgery as well. I'll talk more about that soon. Stay tuned. I will be back with more updates. I'm live with Greg Gabriel tomorrow. Also did a live show on the Nomad Network last night and have more content on the way later today. Please remember to hit that like button for me. Stay tuned. And until next time, bear down.
The Bears.